Hi there, Greg Lewis, MetaStock Software. Hey, you're about to watch a recording of the April 2017 Online Trader Summit presented by MetaStock. This quarterly event, put together by our own Jeff Gibby, highlights some of the industry's best traders, and I know you're really going to enjoy it. Hey, if you haven't tried MetaStock yet and would like to have an extended 3-for-1 trial, visit metastock.com/traders-summit 3-for-1, or just click one of the things provided and get your free trial. Thank you, and I hope you enjoy the presentation.
Today what I want to talk about is my three favorite strategies in MetaStock. So these are all things that are built. Sabine asked a good question. Does MetaStock work on a Mac? It will, but it does require that you have a Windows installed. Shanghai Assets, we're not a broker. So we're an independent platform, and the reason people use us in addition to their broker is because we can help you find and identify trades. By using our scanner. We can help you test trading ideas. We can help you do a forecaster. But we don't do brokerage. You can use whoever you're using right now. So, in any case, keep the questions coming. I'll answer them as we go. And I do need to read our legal disclaimer again. Today's demonstration is designed to instruct you on using MetaStock and the accompanying software plugins. It's not a recommendation to buy or sell, but rather guidelines to interpreting and using specific indicators and features within the software. The information, software, and techniques presented today should only be used by investors who are aware of the risk inherent in trading. MetaStock shall have no liability for any investment decisions based on the use of the software, any trading strategy, or any information provided in connection with the company. There you go. I've said that like 7,000 times now. The platform, TJ, we have a couple of different versions. The question TJ Pacman asks is how much does a platform cost? So we have two versions. We have a DC version. The DC version stands for daily charts. It's $59 a month, that's all. Okay, so if you buy it now, on our 3-for-1 offer, you'll pay $20 a month to run MetaStock May, June, July, till July 29th. Okay? And then if you like it, it's well worth $59 a month. We have a full real-time version. The real-time version is powered by Thomson Reuters and includes all of the Thomson Reuters analytics and news that they offer to their institutional traders. It's only $250 a month, and you can do that on a 3-for-1 as well. Okay? DC means a daily chart. Basically, it'll allow you to look at daily time frames and higher, so daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, TN. It doesn't offer hourly charts, but it does update every hour. I hope that makes sense. Okay. All right, cool. I have some questions for you as we kind of get started. How many of you have been here all day? That's right, Timothy. Chuck uses a one-time cost, plugs into MetaStock. It's $4.99, but it's $3.99 if you buy it at the Summit Special, which will be running for a week or two. Robert says he's been here all day. Dennis says he's been here all day. Emil, Brad, I've been here all day just for what it's worth, right? Okay, all day. Perfect. Well, I hope it's been enjoyable. One thing that I was going to mention, because we do these, I'm going to do another one in September. I'm going to change the format up a little bit. One of the things that I forgot to mention, and I'll just go through some of the things real quick about, the housekeeping items. The first thing that I talked about is the recordings. Those will be available. It's going to be 9 hours plus a video. My video guy likes to go in and kind of get them properly formatted and really look good for YouTube. And so they'll be available sometime next week. It's usually like Wednesday or later. I will send you a copy of the recording when it's available, okay? So as soon as those are available, I'll let you know. Other thing a lot of people have asked is, when you register, there's bonus offers, right? Those bonus offers, the way that works is I will get your information over to the company that's offering the bonus, so for example, Stocks and Commodities Magazine, and they will send you information on collecting your bonus offer sometime early next week, okay? the other thing that I would like you to do for those of you that have been here, have come to the event, I want to know how we're doing. I'm trying to make this thing as good as possible. It's amazed me how well it's turned out, to be frank about it. You know, if we started this and I was like, you know, we have all these great partners. They're very smart. They know what they're doing in the marketplace. We should hold an all-day class. And I didn't know that thousands and thousands of people would sign up and attend and come. And it's been a very, very successful event. I enjoy it. I think we could even do it even better. We're thinking about some interesting ideas for September that may or may not come to pass, but I'll keep you kind of posted on the September dates. I also want to hear what you think we could do better. So after we kind of close down the room, you're going to get a 4-question survey. That survey is going to ask you to rate the session, like, did you like it? It's basically thumbs up, thumbs down, or neutral. Give me your honest feedback. Second question is going to ask you who you liked. Who was your favorite speaker? The best speaker gets bragging rights, that's all. The third question asks you if there's people you want to see. I know somebody asked for Carolyn Borodine earlier. I'll approach her to see if she wants to get in front of a couple thousand people at once, and I'm sure she'll say yes. The fourth question it asks for any comments, suggestions, feedback. I study those. I read every single comment. So if you have feedback, things that you think we could do that might improve the event, let me know. So, okay. Sekar mentions, I do not see Chuck Hughes. It's called Prime Trade Select if you have the Prime Trade Select add-on for MetaStock. If you need to pick it up, Shekar, you just can give us a call at 800-882-3040. Our sales guys can get it so that you can download it and get it into your MetaStock screen. Okay? Shanghai Assets asks a question, is that how it works? I don't really know. That's actually, Kevin actually came back with a suggestion that we always have. Allow time for a bathroom break. I will actually, that's what we're going to try in September. It's a little bit of a different format. Play some videos between speakers. So we'll see how that goes. Okay. All right, so let's get on to what we're doing. I'll answer more questions as we kind of go. Again, thanks for coming today. I kind of have the best job at MetaStock. My job is to work with these guys that have taught me a lot more about trading than I would have ever known. So, yeah, we have been rated 23 years in a row. Who here uses MetaStock already? Jeremy says yes. Rick says yes. Okay, cool. Doug uses it. SR-AB uses it. Dennis is on a trial. Thanks for trying out MetaStock. I hope you love it as much as I do. Matthew says, I love it. Kevin asks, can you look at Forex on MetaStock? You can. It's one of those 300,000 issues that we kind of cover. Can we call on Monday to get any specials? You can, Stephen. Absolutely. They're not going to expire for a few weeks. And the reason I don't expire them is because there's a lot of stuff to digest. I'm actually also going to be running some additional classes to kind of talk about other things other than my 3 favorite things in MetaStock that you're welcome to attend. In the next couple of weeks, I'll email those out to you as well. But we're not really a high pressure. We're going to give you a couple of weeks to kind of look at our website, take a look at it, and we'll give you adequate time. Okay? If it buys and sells on the market, MetaStock can scan it. Yes, that's true, Matthew. Okay, so what I'm going to show you today, I just want to kind of keep it light today. There's a lot of things I could talk to you about. Trust me, I went to Saudi Arabia and I spent 2 weeks training a bunch of Saudi sheiks on the MetaStock platform. It was a lot of fun. But I kind of, when I do these classes, I kind of have to pick out a few things that I'm going to show you, or otherwise we'll just go for 2 weeks, right? So it is a very powerful program. We're not going to talk a lot. We've talked a little bit about scanning today. We've talked a little bit about system testing and forecasting. I'll do another class to kind of supplement and show you those features. But what I want to talk to you today is about 3 things that are included with MetaStock that are kind of like what I would call hidden gems. So one of them is my favorite system in MetaStock. This is a system that I started trading with when my very first trade was an RMO trade. So it's a simple method for trading with the trend that's built into MetaStock. I want you to show you how to automatically label support and resistance levels with MetaStock. I don't think a lot of people use that, but I think it's pretty dang cool. And I'm going to show you a method called the Goro that we started to include with MetaStock 15. So I'm going to go through three things. Those three things are the things that I'm going to talk about. I want to talk about what I'm not going to talk about for a minute, though, because it is a huge toolbox. There's a lot of things that I won't be covering. Zenith is awesome. Our partnership with Reuters, we used to be owned by Reuters. We bought ourselves back a few years, and we still have a really good relationship. But if you're interested in like news of fundamentals and market moving information and sector analysis and kind of that broad market stuff, and you have our MetaStock real time, we actually give you a product called MetaStock Zenith. It goes with it. And it's a product that Reuters sells to their banks and their institutional clients. They've spent about $1 billion. If you don't know a lot about Reuters, here's a few numbers. They have 30,000 reporters on the ground. They make around $90 billion a year. Huge company. 90% of the revenue that they make, according to a financial statement I was looking at several years ago, 90% of the revenue they made at that, according to this statement, was selling this real-time news and information to brokerages, banks, hedge funds. We offer the same type of news and information in this Zenith product. Thomson Reuters calls it Icon, we call it Zenith. It's fantastic if you're interested in news. We're not going to talk a lot about scanning. I'll probably show you how to scan for breakouts on the dynamic trading stuff. MetaStock has a great system tester. It allows you to go in and, there's about 40 or 50 methodologies that are built into MetaStock that you can test. And it'll tell you which ones work, what stocks they work on. It's a great tester. We're not going to talk about that. And we're not going to talk too much about the forecaster. The forecaster is a patent-pending tool that's in MetaStock that allows you to statistically gauge price points. So all of that kind of stuff, I just had to pick, And today we've had a very heavy session. There's been a lot of technical advice. I thought it would be really, really good to show you just three things that I like in MetaStock. And so let's do that. The first thing I'm going to show you, Rahul Mohinder is a seasoned trader for he's our dealer. Rahul Mohinder is an Indian from India, and he's one of our most successful dealers on the planet. In other words, he buys MetaStock from us and resells it. He has about 5 or 6 offices in India, and his primary business is actually teaching people how to trade. He also does a lot of panelist work for CNBC India and CNN India. He's a really, really cool guy. Absolutely love him. The reason RMO is included in MetaStock is during MetaStock version 10, which would have been like maybe 10 years ago, we had him in our office and we wanted to, we asked him to show us what he was teaching people in MetaStock. And he showed us this RMO method. We really, really liked it. And so we just incorporated it into MetaStock as something that's included as a freebie. Okay, we bought rights to it for him. So that's where it comes from. The reason I like to show it is it's pretty easy to read. If I do a pretty good job of explaining the rules to you, you'll understand exactly how to measure the trend, long-term, short-term, intermediate. You'll understand the rules, and it's 100% objective, meaning as long as I do my job okay, you'll understand exactly how to read those, how to trade based off of it. I also like the fact that it employs solid money management, works on a lot of different time frames, and I've shown this all over the place, from Australia, Sydney, hundreds and hundreds of times in the US, England, wherever, a lot of different places that I go. And I do like to show it because it is easy. It gives you something that you can play with when you are on your MetaStock trial that should be beneficial for you. Okay, and it is a simple 3-step process. Okay, it is a trend following system. Okay, so here's a definition of the trend. The trend is your friend. Befriend the trend. Trend is your friend until the bend at the end. But it looks to measure the trend and take good chunks out of the trend. Okay, and it is a little bit of a cliche in terms of the trend is your friend, rising tide lifts all boats, all that kind of stuff. But I like this because it kind of simplifies that trend measurement process into something that you can easily implement. Okay, and as I said, it's a 3-step process. So if we want to trade with the trend, we're going to want to identify the primary trend or the prevailing trend. Okay, and I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm going to walk you through the 3 steps here. This is the chart of Apple that we were just looking at with Barry Burns' method on it. And anytime I want to apply Rahul's method, what I want to do in MetaStock, I'm just going to use Apple. Okay, I'm going to right click on this chart. I'm going to go to Apply Template right here. And to apply all of his indicators and his expert advisor all at the same time, all I'm going to do is find the RMO trade model here on the list. Okay. Oh, oops. Let me try that again. That was the wrong template. I remembered I could actually just type and it'll go straight to it. So I'm going to type and I'm going to get there the easy way. So this applies all of the indicators. Neil asked a question, MetaStock has so much to offer. How is the best place to learn and navigate it? It's a really good question. One of the things that I think we've done a really good job of over the last several years is actually providing really good quality education about how to use stuff. Like, so for example, when you sign up for your trial, you're going to get my bootcamp, but in addition to that, you're going to get a course that's called Unleash the Power of MetaStock that'll actually walk you through RMO, scanning, system testing, forecasting. It's a course that's really designed to kind of help you get started. Okay, and you'll get that as part of your purchase. Because one of the things is we don't really want you to subscribe for 3 months, not install the software, and never use it, right? We want you to be using MetaStock. The core demographic that we have, a majority of them have actually been using MetaStock for more than 10 years. We want you to be a very successful, very long-term customer with us. So we want you to understand how to use the tool, and we will provide you that education as part of it. So thanks for the question, Neil. Tony, you lost audio. I'm sorry. Can everybody else hear me? JC, yes, sales chat is on right now. I'll just type in the link for you. Okay, good. Good. You guys can hear me. The audio is, or sales chat is here. We're going to have them here until we're done, basically today. So there you go. A lot of the questions just went away because everybody's saying, I can hear you. There was one that I wanted. Let me scroll up here a little bit. There are a lot of people here today, so I apologize if we miss questions. Actually, I don't see one. Okay, if I missed your question. Oh, somebody asked, that's right. Is there a way to kind of make this darker so you can see it a little bit better? Sure. Anytime, one of the things about MetaStock is anytime you want to change something, I'm going to make it black, for example. Maybe you'll be able to see that better. Anytime you want to change something in the software, just right-click on it. So in this case, I want to change the background to black. Maybe you'll be able to see that better. But all I'm going to do is I'm going to right-click. I'm going to go in here and go to Inner Window, Properties, and instead of having it white, I'll have it black. I'm going to apply that to all of the inner windows right here. That may be more visible for you, but yeah, you can change it to see it exactly the way that you want. I actually prefer the white background, but this is a way to look at it as well. So let's talk about measuring the primary trend, okay? And then we'll do the intermediate trend, and then we'll show you how to get signals out of this thing. So the first thing we want to do if we want to trade with the trend is we want to be able to identify the primary trend. So right here you've got the, this is what Rahul calls the Rahul Mohinder oscillator, or the RMO for short. And really its only purpose is to kind of measure the primary or prevailing trend. And when I say primary or prevailing trend, what I mean is the long-term trend for the market. Okay? The way you read it, I promised it was going to be easy. If it's above zero right now, long term, you're bullish. So if we're looking right here at the hard right edge of the screen, you're going to say, okay, the primary trend is bullish. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, if it's bullish and we want to trade with the trend, we're not going to take short positions, so it means you're not allowed to take short positions. Just because it's above zero doesn't mean you're automatically going to take a long position, though. It just means we're allowed to only take long positions. Okay, so again, very, very visual, very easy to read. If it's above zero, which it is, then long term, Apple in this case is bullish, and we're allowed to take long positions. Okay, makes sense? Pretty easy, right? So that's a long-term trend. And one of the ways we've kind of identified that on the chart, you can look at the indicator. If you want, you can also look at this trend ribbon at the bottom. I actually want to change the ribbon a little bit real quick because I kind of prefer a bit of a different, oh, it's on a different screen. I actually can't change that because it's over on a screen that isn't attached to my computer right now. But you can look at also the bottom and you can see if it's bullish or bearish, because this indicator matches this ribbon. So you can say right now we're in a bullish state, and we have been since Apple's been at 115, and now it's gone to 143. So right now, during this period right now, we would have only been looking to take long positions. So if you see a sell arrow on the chart, your very first rule is going to tell you you can't take that sell arrow. You're going to use that for something else. I'm going to explain to you what you're going to use it for, but right now, we're only allowed to take long positions, and until this goes down below 0, we're not allowed to go short. Okay, so that's how it helps you trade. I would say no matter what strategy you're looking at, if you're only looking to take long positions from when Apple was at 112 to 143, you're only looking at longs, regardless of what you do next, that's already putting the odds in your favor, right? Okay, so indicator 2, and then let's talk a little bit about kind of step number 2. And I'm just going to recap this real quick, okay? If your RMO is bullish, you're allowed to buy. You're not allowed to short, and it's not a trigger to get into the market. Simple stuff, but I like to repeat it a few times, okay? The next thing we're going to do is we're going to identify the short-term trend, okay? And the way we do this, I'm going to go back into the chart, and to identify the short-term trend, we're going to look at this indicator that's called swing trade number 2. Okay, so the indicator that we're looking at, I'm just going to change this view. Again, if you want to change anything in MetaStock, you just click on what you want to change, right-click on it, and you can go to the properties and you can kind of change it, because I like to look at this line a little bit as a line, not a histogram. Okay, you might like to see it as a histogram, but we're not going to focus on the blue line right now. We're going to look at this pink line. Okay, we read it the same way we read RMO. Okay. The only real difference is you'll notice it's a lot faster to react to market movements. It's a lot faster to drop down below 0. And the reason for that is you're looking at a short-term trend. So whereas the primary trend takes a lot more data into account, this is just looking at the short-term trend, but you read it the same way. If it's above 0, you're bullish. If it's below 0, like it was for just one bar back here, then you're basically in a bearish mode. Okay, and the way we annotate that on the chart, in addition to having the indicator, as long as that short-term trend is bullish, you're going to have your bars painted blue. Okay, if it drops down below 0, then that bar is going to be painted red. So the bars are either going to be blue or red. Okay, so step 1, again, just to recap, is your RMO bullish or is it bearish? Okay, step number 2, just to recap, is your bar blue? That means your short-term trend is also bullish. So right now, if we're looking at Apple for a trade, we know we can take a long position because both of our bullish and bearish, or our long-term, I should say, our long-term and our short-term indicators match. Okay, it's that simple. Okay, nothing yet is a trigger. Okay, and if they don't match, well, we can wait, right? We want to put the odds in our favor. The thing about trading is we want to put the odds in our favor. Okay, so if the primary trend is bullish and the short-term trend is bullish, we're allowed to buy. You're not allowed to take a short position, and again, it's not a trigger to get into the market. Okay, it's quite that simple. To get the trigger, now if the primary trend and the short-term trend do not match, like if one's bullish and one's bearish, well, in that case, you're allowed to wait. Okay, you don't want to do anything. You want to wait until you put as many odds in your favor. And this is a trend following system, so you want to follow those trends. Okay. You can also use the Explorer in MetaStock. We talked a lot about scanning. Scanning is one of the best things MetaStock has to offer because it allows you to kind of find the opportunities that exist now. Okay. All right. So let's talk a little bit about identification of triggers. For that, we're going to look at these 2 indicators again. And we're going to look at the relationship between the short-term trend and what you might have guessed already, this blue line is actually the medium-term trend. So we've got a short-term trend measurement, a medium-term trend measurement, and a long-term measurement here on the chart. Now, the thing that's a little bit different about this, so I'm going to slow down, I want you to pay attention for a minute. But the thing that's different than this is we don't really care if this is above 0 or below 0. We're looking at the relationship between the short-term trend and the long-term trend to identify triggers into the marketplace. For example, right here, our short-term trend started to get more bullish, and it crossed up above our medium-term trend And this actually generated a buy signal on the chart. If you look at the buy signal right here, that was generated by that crossover. Rahul calls that crossover a change of momentum or a change of direction or a change of force. Okay? When that happens, that's actually a valid signal to go long, but only we wouldn't go long here on this particular day because we're bearish both short-term and long-term. We'd wait until those match. We want to wait until we have permission to trade. So we would have looked to go long on the very next day. We can get the buy signal. That can happen a few days before we get the signal, and then we can get the signal to go in long. And I do say days, I mean bars, because you can apply this intraday if you're looking at it like an hourly chart and that kind of stuff. I primarily look at daily charts and weekly charts because I just don't have that much time during the day to trade. So I have a job to do. And so this kind of keeps me in the direction of the trend. So if we were starting to look at this trade right here, and I just kind of want to walk you through this. This is something you can play with during your trial of MetaStock. But if we see this trade here, we're not going to take it, right? This basically, we might be even in a short position depending on kind of the history back here. But right now, we're bearish, and we're bearish long-term. And even though this started to go up, until we get bullish on this stock, we're not going to look to take an entry position, which happened to this day, okay? Right here, this is when everything went bullish. Okay. Now there's one other thing that Rahul wants you to do. This is a valid trigger. You have a signal, everything goes bullish. That's that's a very actionable trigger. There's a few rules that Rahul is very, very specific about on how you should take advantage of that trigger. Okay. Step number one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my horizontal line tool in MetaStock. I'm going to look at the high for this bar. The bar where I'm going long, I'm going to look at the high from the bar before, and I'm going to enter if it goes just above the higher of those two highs. Okay? Makes sense? Okay? So I'm just looking at the high for this bar where I'm getting in, where I've decided that I have a trigger to get in. I'm going to draw a line straight across right above the higher of the two values. Okay? I'm also going to look at the chart. Okay, and I'm going to look for a recent pullback area or a recent support area, and before I take the trade, I'm going to probably decide right here is where I want to draw my horizontal line for another horizontal line. Okay, the first line is your trigger, meaning you want the stock to penetrate the high, and it's an additional confirmation that the trade is going to move in the direction if it penetrates basically this resistance area. Okay, what you're going to use this line for is you're going to use this line as your stop loss. So right now, I know that if the stock goes above 114, before I even put a trade out there, if it goes above 114.88, I'm going to go long on this thing. Okay, going to write it on the chart. 114. Is my numlock off? Hold on a second. Okay, numlock 114. Okay, there we go. We're typing. Okay, if it goes above 114.89, I'm going to buy. And before I enter the stock, I know that if it goes down below 108.85, I'm going to get out of that trade. 108.85. So what do I know already? Okay, I have a pretty good assessment, not exact, because remember stocks can gap and all that kind of stuff. There's risk inherent in trading. Things don't go always the way that we plan. But I know if I get in at about 114.89, I know I'm going to get out at about 108. Under a normal scenario, I have a pretty good measurement of what my risk is going to be. In this case, 114 minus 108, wow, it's been a long day, is about 6 points, give or take. So am I comfortable risking about 6 points on this trade if it goes against me? Yeah, I'm comfortable with that. And I have an idea of what that is. So because it's rule-based and because it employs money management, I'm not trying to make decisions that, oh, well, Apple's just having a bad couple of days. It's going to go back up. I know in advance, and you know how that always works out. Not always the best way, right? I know in advance exactly what my risk is going to be. That's a risk that I'm willing to take in the marketplace. Okay? Does that make sense for you? Okay, let's go through this trade because I'm looking at the time. The very next day, we trigger in towards the high of this bar. We go ahead and get into the stock, and we go ahead and put in our stop loss. That's simple as it works. Okay? In this particular case, okay, let's go ahead and zoom out a little bit. go forward a little bit. And as long as it's going up, you don't really have to worry too much. Okay? And it does kind of go up a little bit, kind of doesn't commit very much to that move and kind of pulls back. We get a little bit of a wavering, enough to trigger that crossover that gives us a change of momentum or a change of direction or change of force. Okay, this is natural market movement. The market goes up, it inhales, as Barry says, and it exhales. Very, very simple stuff, right? When this happens on a chart, and we see this sell signal come in, one of two things are going to happen. It's either going to continue to go down, in which case we're going to stop out, or it's going to establish a new resistance area, and then it's going to start to inhale again, right? So when this happens on a chart, we generally don't necessarily want to get out of the stock right now. What we want to do is we kind of want to pay more attention to it. Okay, it's given us a little bit of a warning sign. A lot of times it'll resume in the direction of the prevailing trend. That's why the trend is your friend. Okay, so what happens is for a couple of days, then we get a little bit of a buy signal signaling that the stock is probably going to start to move up again. Very natural market movement. Okay, and when this happens, when you have this natural pullback, you have a natural, and it starts to kind of bounce off of this new support area. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to move your stop. So as soon as you get your arrow to go long again, Rahul's very, very specific. He says you can actually buy more stocks if you want to. I prefer not to trade it that way. I buy all the stocks I want down here. But one thing that's not optional is you're going to move your stop. Okay? And the way you're going to determine your new stop is you're going to look at the recent low in price. So at this particular point, what I'm going to say is that's the lowest price. Okay? If it penetrates just a little bit under that, I'm going to get out at $114. We've got a new resistance area. Let's go ahead and kind of let it kind of start to run up, and hopefully this will be a good trade for us. But if it starts to go south, now I'm going to lock in a tighter stop loss, okay, in this particular case, right? Okay, and it does. It starts to go up for us. Okay, very simple. This is a very, very nice trade. I just actually happened to apply this because I was looking at Apple with Barry's trade. We have a nice run up, including a gap to the upside. It comes up. Then we start to kind of get this natural exhale movement. I like how Barry said exhale. It's a very good way to describe it. Sets up another support area right here, and you get another signal that it's about to shoot off. Doesn't always work, okay, but since we kind of think it's going to go up, and since we've established a new support area right here, we're going to move up our stop. Okay, so this should be really, really simple. Okay, hopefully you guys are understanding it. And you'll notice as we kind of get a little bit more consolidated, the stocks go sideways. It happens, right? So we get a signal to move up our stop. It's kind of in this sideways motion. We get another signal that it might be going down. Here we get another opportunity to move up our stop. I probably wouldn't change it right here. Here we kind of get another little bit of a trigger. This actually naturally happens, and it happens quite a bit. Right here where we get this final signal, I may move up my stop just a little bit to underneath this low right here. Okay? And then we just kind of keep following along. This is a very, very simple, easy method to use. In just this example of Apple, we're looking at Apple, right? Apple. Right now, we'd still be long. We did have a little bit where the trend, short term, went weak, but we're still long. If everything goes against us, like, so for example, if we get a red bar, we get a red, a short-term, a red bar here, we get a red ribbon, then you're going to immediately get out of that position. Most of the time, though, you're going to get out on a stop loss. And it's again, it's a very, very simple, easy to use system to use. One of my favorite systems that's included with MetaStock, which is the point of the demo here. Okay. All right. So then you structure your trade, you manage your stops, you wait for an exit or a stop to get out. Very, very simple. That's one of my 3 favorite things in MetaStock. I'm going to show you very, very quickly my other 2 favorite things. Please go back to white background. Black is very difficult to see. I actually agree with you. There's actually some research that I read that said that white is actually easier for humans to read. So, and I'm sure that's, you do a survey and you kind of get like a most people scenario. The third type of lie is a statistic, right? But for me, it's a lot easier to read as well. Okay. And cheaper to print. That's definitely true as well. Even in Icon, which they have kind of like this black view, I like to change it to the Chrome view because I really, really think the white background is easier. Okay, let's go ahead and go back to a different. I'm going to apply a template real quick. We are kind of going into overtime. This is a template that I made that shows off these indicators. This is kind of what we call our dynamic trend tools. I can email you this template if you want to email me. It's a template. I'll include instructions on how to make or how to put this in your MetaStock, but it just applies all the indicators and color codes them kind of the way I like to look at them. Okay, so here's my email address. I'm going to put it as a reply to Brad's comment there. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to apply this DT template to a chart. You can bake this with MetaStock. It's actually not hard to do. Or you can just email me and I'll send you the template. In MetaStock, there's a bunch of automatic dynamic trend tools. We call them dynamic trend tools. So if I come down to DT, I'll show you kind of like a little bit of what they are. What I've done is I've actually applied them all, saved it as a template that I'm actually going to probably convince the team here to actually include this in MetaStock 16 as just an included template because I show it all the time. I think they should include it as a template people can look. But you see we've got DT resistance longer term, you've got DT resistance shorter term, you've got DT trend line up and down longer and shorter term. So there's just a bunch of indicators that automatically find support and resistance areas for you in MetaStock, right? So I've actually made a template. The major support resistance or the major support right here is the green line. The minor support is the dark red, or the minor resistance is kind of these lighter green areas that you see on the chart. Your major support levels are the same. You've got either dark red or light red. Okay, so I've just applied them that way. If it finds any trend lines on a chart, it found a trend line right here in Apple. This would be the longer term. Those will also be automatically labeled. And again, you can apply them as indicators. You can just drag them and drop them into the chart, or you can email me. I'll send you the template. But MetaStock does a really, really good job of kind of finding these support and resistance levels for you. Kind of gives you a little bit of a different view. But since they're automated, one of the things that you can do is you can scan for it. So like for example, if we're looking for something that's broken through, right here we broke through kind of a minor support area on Apple. If you want to find a stock when it's breaking through one of these support areas, or down through one of these trend lines, or down through one of these support areas, there's scans that are built there for you. So if I open up my Power Console right here, I can come to the scanner, and they're also labeled DT. I'm just going to take this Chuck Hughes out. I'm going to make sure I don't have any other scans selected. I shouldn't. I'm going to come down to DT, and what I'm going to do is you'll see that we've got support, resistance longer term, we've got support and resistance shorter term, and then we've got your trend line breakouts. This would be up above an up trend line or a down below a down trend line, either from a long term or a shorter term perspective. So if I just really quickly wanted to go in and identify a breakout of support or resistance, I can just say, well, okay, let's do the longer term one. Okay. Now I'm not going to pick a very big list, but again, any of the 380,000 issues that are available for you. But let's just, for the purpose of kind of we're running late on a Saturday, for the purposes of keeping things real quick, what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill into this list. It's called index constituents, and I'm just going to let's see if we find anything that broke out of the Dow, not the Dow utilities. Where's the full industrials? We'll do the Dow industrials real quick and see if anything broke last week. Okay, so it's going to run through those 30 stocks. It's already done. Going to go to the reports. Hopefully it found something. It did. Oh, right, because of the way that this works. So right here you see it has break up and break down. Okay, this is how many days ago there was a breakup, or how many bars ago, because I ran a daily basis, but you can run this on any time frame. Okay, so if I wanted to find a breakup, something that broke up above its longer term resistance, I could look at Verizon, I could look at Nike, I could look at Caterpillar. Not Verizon and Nike, since there's a zero, just happened. Caterpillar happened like 3 days ago. Pfizer happened 49 days ago. If I scan based on this breakdown column, I can see how long ago something broke down below their longer term support area. So that's how it works. And then from here you can save this as a list. You'll probably just pick the ones though that have recently broken out. If I open up Caterpillar, which I can do right here, okay, and I apply that same template, DT, okay, again I can email you this template so you don't have to set it up. It's pretty, you just put it in your MetaStock folder of my documents. Now I can see where that breakout happened 3 days ago on Caterpillar, and it was a breakout of this support level here. Okay, maybe a good trade, maybe not. It's a good tool for identifying exactly kind of what's out there and what has just kind of penetrated through its support and resistance area. Okay, Frederick, and well, we're going to take a few questions. I fall asleep with a black background, Tian says. I don't necessarily fall asleep, but I definitely find I get a headache. So just personally. Does MetaStock have Ichimoku Cloud as well? It does, and it is something that, that you can do. In Hubert's demo where he talked a lot about the Ichimoku Cloud, he was actually using Icon. And the reason I had him use Icon was to kind of show off Zenith a little bit. Zenith and Icon kind of mean the same thing when I say it. I should say Zenith. We call it Zenith because they don't want us calling it Icon because they charge a lot more for it than we do. But yes, MetaStock and MetaStock Zenith have Ichimoku clouds. Okay. Bill says the mother of all information overloads. Wow, need to extended lifespan to learn. And I think I would agree it's a huge tool. We've been working on it for 30 years. That's kind of why I like to do this particular class, is it just kind of allows you to identify some things that are very, very good. Tony, you're right. There's no commentary to find for the RMO swing trade market trend. I think we should add some. And I'm surprised that we don't have it in there, but I think we definitely should add it. And so look for that in the future. Jeff, can a person build their own watch list in MetaStock? Absolutely, Jeff. Is there a seasonality study in MetaStock? William, that's a really good question. I actually built some. There's nothing that comes in native in MetaStock, but I built a seasonality tester. I mean, I had to look for this for you. You can build almost anything you want in MetaStock, and you know, I've been doing this for 20 years as of March 27th. So I actually have a seasonality tester you can plug into MetaStock. It allows you to go and test and see if there's an appropriate time to build, to buy like retail stocks or something like that. So email me, I'll dig that out. I built it a few years ago. I'm gonna have to do a little bit of searching on my hard drive to find it. I'm just glad it's easier to search my hard drive than it was a few years ago. MetaStock does have options, Robert. It's a good question. But a lot of the work that we do is actually in kind of determining direction on the options, or indirection. Actually, there's some things in there that, but a lot of the work, I would say, let me rephrase that a little bit for you. A lot of the work we do is kind of helping you get a bullish, bearish, or neutral bias on a stock so that you know that you're kind of, so that you can incorporate that into an options strategy. 40% of our traders trade options every time I ask. That's a statistic that hardly changes. I myself use options, and what we're going to do is help you find kind of, okay, I'm bullish on this, I'm bearish. Or there's some scans in there that are put together by Don Fishback that look for market neutrality, for stocks that don't have volatility, for calendar spreads and stuff like that. But a lot of the research that we really do good at, a lot of the places where we really excel is studying that underlying, finding the right underlying instrument so you can kind of build an option strategy around that. Okay. Tony asked an interesting question. Does Rahul have training anyone can take? We're actually running a 3-webinar series with Rahul. He's in India. But we're going to be doing a 3-webinar series with him, and we're going to start advertising that on Monday. So if you want to get a little bit of a deeper look onto Rahul's ways of looking at the market, join me next week. Actually, I'll be here next Saturday with Rahul in the morning. It's not going to be 9 hours, though. It's just going to be an hour or two. So it'll be a little bit of an easier session. Can MetaStock scan for gaps? Yes, Frederick. Depending on kind of your definition for a gap, it's an easy scan. If it's not already in MetaStock, you can write it. And if you want to start MetaStock, I'll help put together a gap scan based on kind of like what you're looking for, because it'll only take me a minute or two to kind of get one put together for you, because I don't think there is one native in the program. Can you scan based on intraday moving averages and indicators? Sure, GK. One of the things people really, really like about MetaStock is the ability to kind of scan anything you want. So moving averages, indicators, anything you want to, you can. Somebody's asking me for the link for Rahul's webinar, so let me show you how to find it. And once we get it, I'll post it in a link here. So right here, if you come up to events, it's been a long day. I can't even remember what's on our website and where. Webinars, this is where you're going to want to look at. What we're going to do is we're going to do an overview of RMO 2 and the power of MetaStock's RMO. So there's the link. And you can just sign up for the 2 classes. The third is for customers of his RMO ATM 2. It's going to be what he calls a master class. So that's why there's only 2 listed on the website. Okay, because the other one is for kind of customers of his. Okay. You're welcome, Anton, and I'll put that in. I think Frederick says MST is my favorite because it is very versatile. I think by MST he means MetaStock. So, all right, one more thing to show you. And apologies if we just go a little bit late. But this is one thing, a project that I got involved in, and I promise you 3 things. So I'm going to show you the third one. That's a Goro method. The Goro method, so let me tell you the story behind this one. This one we started to include with MetaStock 15 for free. And the story for this is I do a lot of traveling personally. And I was down in Australia, must have been like 4 or 5 years ago. We were at a trade show, the International Federation of Technical Analysis or something like that. And one of the things that we do, and you see it a lot today, is I like to build tools for people, for educators out there, because it kind of gives, if we can go in and build, like, for example, Steve Bigelow's product and have a product that automates his work, his students love it, right? And so a big kind of bread and butter strategy for me has been to kind of find really good experts and build really cool tools with them. So I was down in Australia, met a guy by the name of Gary Burton, and he ran the Australian Federation of Technical Analysis or something like that. And I struck up a conversation with him. I kind of explained a little bit about what we do. And he's like, yeah, that really sounds interesting. We kind of looked at the slides that he taught people, and I'm like, yeah, we could build some stuff that would be really, really cool for you based on kind of like what you're showing me. So I got back from Australia. He emails me like this 200-page PowerPoint on kind of like what he teaches people in Australia and how to trade. And I kind of really latched onto this weekly method of looking at charts called the Goro method. Now, he didn't invent the method. The method itself was developed by a guy by the name of Siki Shimizu. Okay, he wrote this book called The Japanese Chart of Charts, which I don't have a slide for it. But it was called the Goro method. I really kind of latched onto it. It's a really cool kind of way to kind of look at the chart to kind of get a forecast on a weekly basis of what you can expect for the next week. So I basically coded kind of this methodology. We made it available to like his students. It was like a freebie. It was available on our website for a long time, and his students loved it. And it turns out I really liked it as well. I ended up sending the methodology over to Dennis Peterson of Stocks and Commodities magazine. I'm like, this is pretty cool. You should do a review on it. And Dennis was kind of a good friend of mine. He tragically passed away a couple years ago, very unexpectedly too. But he liked the method so much that he did not one review on it, he did 2 reviews on it, and he said some really nice things about my coding abilities, which I thought was kind of funny at the time because I'm not a coder, I'm more of a sales guy. But MetaStock's so easy to write stuff for that the only reason I know how to code is just so that to help facilitate some of the projects that we do here. So I thought it was really funny, but he really, really liked the methodology. And when we were kind of doing a little bit of a meeting, we talked about all the stuff we wanted to add to 15, and that, they added local data, and they added all this sector analysis stuff, and they added all this really cool stuff. I'm like, you know what, we should just, we have this Goro download that's available on the website. People that use it love it. We should just include it for free. So this is the third thing that makes my list of Jeff Gibby's 3 favorite things that are included in MetaStock as part of the platform. Okay. I'm going to go through it really quickly for you. It is designed to look at a weekly view of the chart. Okay, so you'll only apply this to your weekly. Siki was pretty adamant about that. He said his methodologies were designed to have 5 days of trading and 2 days of rest, and that the candle methods, the candle identifications that he used should be used in that way. Okay, it's also designed to help you find key turning points on a weekly chart. I'll talk a little bit more about that. And it's a fairly accurate forecast of predicting the weekly movement on a chart. Okay, there's a few things that we want to talk about just to kind of lay a few ground lines out here. I'm gonna go quickly, but I do have other training on this that we can kind of go. I just don't want to keep everybody all night long. Okay, first thing that we want to talk about is midpoint. The midpoint is simply the high plus the low divided by 2. Okay, all candles have a midpoint. It's just the middle of your candle. Okay, now when I apply the Goro template, which I'm just going to come into, we'll do it on Caterpillar. I'm going to apply the Goro template, and I'm going to make it sure it's a weekly chart by using the template's periodicity. Okay, I'm going to go through kind of some of the dynamics of this for you. Okay, you'll notice there's like this big solid dotted line. I actually prefer to look at it like this. I'm going to change the style to what I like. Okay, apply. Okay, because this kind of gives me a bit of a clearer view of what's going on. If I come down here, okay, you'll notice a few things. I'm going to kind of go through but you'll notice there's a midpoint that's labeled on every chart. This is the weekly support and resistance for Caterpillar. Okay. Yeah. Now you'll notice it'll go for several weeks at a time, and it doesn't change, and then it'll change. That's because we have a very specific rule for changing the midpoint or the support and resistance area. If what we look at is the range of the candle, if this range is higher than it has been for actually I think it's 3 weeks, then we make a new midpoint. Okay. So the way we would look at this with Caterpillar is as long as we're above the weekly midpoint, which is right here, okay, then we're going to kind of be bullish. We use it as support and resistance on a chart. Okay, so that's what it's looking at. It's just defining a midpoint. Okay, that's all it's doing. And the way Siki uses it and the way he implements it is support and resistance, the same way you would look at support and resistance. Okay, so that's the way we use midpoint in this thing. Okay, you'll notice in the charts every single candle had like a 1, 2, 3 to 16. Each of these lines, each different type of line, and here's a diagram of all of those lines, have a different kind of forecast, if you would, for what you can expect in the next week of price action. Okay, you'll notice this looks like a hammer. That's because it is a hammer. You'll notice this looks like a hammer. These are kind of the significant turning points. There's scans in MetaStock that will help you identify these 3 candles and these 15 candles. But all of them have a definition. Okay, so if I switch back into MetaStock, this last week we had a number 2 bar. Well, what does that mean? Well, I have a commentary feature in MetaStock, which is one of my favorite things in MetaStock, where I actually kind of went in and told you what a line 2 means. So this is candle 2, okay? When this is a long line, the midpoint is set as a future support for any declining prices. So what we're saying is this is probably going to, if this pulls back, this will be your support level. If it penetrates it, you're no longer bullish on this thing, okay? What else does it mean? Concerning line 2, this appears at the outset of a rise in the market after a fall in prices. Okay, so we have that gap up during the week. Right now, according to the Siki method, and again, not a recommendation to buy or sell, but according to this, we can expect a further rise in prices. Okay, here's what we want to do. We want to wait for the next price to open above the midpoint. So this has to on Monday open up above the midpoint, then we'll take a long position. If the price closes below the midpoint of the line, close any long positions. That's showing up a little bit weird on my screen. Oh, it's just a kind of a temporary error. After the 4th week of upward movement, the price should be liquidated. So we do have all the lines and that kind of stuff, but that's the important part. The other thing that's important, one of the things Siki talked a lot about in his book is the range, where this is in conjunction to where it's been. Okay, and what we did to kind of measure where we're at in range is we look at the last zigzag. So we see this Haguro percent range in zigzag. This is where we took a little bit of artistic license, but we want it, if it's moved 7% or more, okay, so this measures how far it's moved from the last peak or trough. If it's moved 7% or more, the lines are going to be more significant. And that's all that this is telling you. This means the candle lines are more significant. Whereas if you're looking at when they're kind of in the range, if we look at these 16s that are happening back here, it actually tells you the range of the stock has not extended more than 7%. Okay? Now, the way I use this personally is I like to look at it for kind of the forecast, kind of give you an idea of what you're expecting the next week. I also use this Haguro midpoint as my ultimate stop. Okay, a lot of the stops that I'll use personally in the trades that I do are going to be close stops, market on close stops. But how I'll implement this is if I bought Caterpillar, if it ever went down below that midpoint, that is at any time during the day, that's where I would get out of the market. Okay, that's how I use it personally, but play with it. It was very, very well received. People really like it. I did a show up in Toronto the other day, showed this, and one of the guys that was in Toronto with me said, "Hey, this is what I use. I use it in conjunction with CPS, Steve Bigelow's product." And I'm like, "Well, what a coincidence!" Anyway, very, very cool stuff. Play with it, and it is something that I wanted to include with MetaStock for free. Want to go through? We're almost done here. I'm going to go through questions again at the end. Going to go through pricing on MetaStock. It's a great toolbox. And I might be a little bit biased when I say it. I'm a heck of a lot biased. I wouldn't trade without it, though, to be frank about it. I think there's something to be said for the fact that consistently, year after year after year after year, for the last 23 years in a row, it's been rated #1. I mean, think about that. That's 1994? Yeah, 1994. I had to do some math in my head, and I'm getting tired. #1. We've had so many customers that have been with us for decades. It's a really, really good software. I just want you to try it. I want you to try it for $20 a month. If you do nothing else, try it for $20 a month. You can buy 1 month. That's $59. You'll get 3 months. So May, June, July, 29th. That's a heck of a lot of time. I almost swore there. I did swear there. To try out the software. And if it's helpful for you, wow, I mean, great. If it's not, such a low risk opportunity for you. MetaStock RT, our real-time program, includes that icon platform that we've kind of talked about and not shown. It includes everything in the DC version. It's $250 a month, and it includes real-time data. And you can do that on a 3-for-1 as well. And again, one of the best news services on the planet. Okay, we are going to include with that your bonus of the Unleash the Power of MetaStock. That's the training I was kind of alluding to. What's the best way for me to get started? Well, we want you to get started. We want you to be customers of ours forever. So we've included that. I'm going to actually personally set up sometime in the next couple of weeks a live training session for everybody that's new. There's been a lot of people that have signed up today. Thank you for that, by the way. But I'm actually going to set up a whole class on here's what. Okay, here's how you scan. Here's how you test. Here's what this does. Kind of go through kind of what I think are the most important tools. I'll record that if you can't make the class, and you can watch it. But you're also going to have access to this as well. Okay. Again, if you want to take advantage of that, give us a call. We've got a couple of guys here. They're going to stay here as long as they're getting phone calls. I know the phones have been busy off and on today. So 800-882-3040, or you can chat with Bobby or Tyson online right now at metastock.com/saleschat. Okay? We did talk about a number of the add-ons, and the amount of just expertise that we had today was amazing. These guys are smarter traders than I am, and they have the track records to back it up. I would recommend all of these add-ons. Pick one that you like intraday. Like if you want to do intraday, Barry Burns is a really good one. He trades intraday. If you're long-term, more interested in options, I'd recommend the other three. Bigelow is awesome. The students love it. It's been rated #1, or I shouldn't say it that way. It's been rated one of the most popular add-ons for several years, and it's only been out for about 4 years in stocks and commodities. That doesn't just include products that we release here. That includes any add-on for any product. Okay, there's Big Trend Toolkit. It's a great toolbox. Again, I love Price's strategies for looking at the best opportunities and skipping the ones that are not so good. And Chuck Hughes, his reputation is beyond reproach. If you buy any of these, you're going to get $100 off. If you buy 2 of them, you're going to save $150 on each one of them. All purchases include 2 years of Stocks and Commodities magazine. It'll include a free trial to MetaStock. You can still do the 3-for-1 if you want. And it includes my bootcamp and that Unleash the Power of MetaStock. So that's what I had. Okay. One last call out to our sponsor, Stocks and Commodities magazine. They took a bit of a gamble to help us market the first event, and I think we're on for number 6 or 7 right now, and it's a great event. I'd love it. I really appreciate your helping me make it successful, because the reason I can call up just about anybody I want and have them do an event with us is because you show up and you're interested and you want to see it. So, and I thought this would be a good idea. It's worked out a lot better than I even thought it would. So thank you for that. Here's the phone number again, or here's the information for us. Let me go back. Should always include that in the last. Okay. If you have questions, there are some questions that are coming in, purposefully ignoring them so I can kind of just get what I got to say out. But if you want to order, give us a call at 800-882-3040 or visit us at metastock.com/saleschat. Okay. Okay. Secker asks, what is the name of Siki's book? It's the Japanese chart of charts. James says, can you trade with MetaStock DC? MetaStock is an analytics tool. We haven't integrated trading, although we plan on doing that shortly. Okay. Does it have financial information like FinViz to scan? In real time, yeah, there's a lot of financial information you can look at in that Zenith platform. Fortunately, that's not included with the DC version because it's a full real-time platform. So how can you adjust free registration offers that were not checked? You have until midnight tonight. Let me type in the address for you, because the site is automatically going to go down to our archive site today. So if you want to go up there and you'll just have to pretend like you're registering again, but you can go down to metastock.com/traders-summit. Okay, going to send that through in the chat. Randolph, thanks for coming, man. The pleasure is mine. Thanks for coming in. What profiling, volume, and time tools are available in MetaStock, and how customizable are they? There's a lot of profiling tools that are available in Icon, actually, Simon. And one of our sales guys at 800-882-3040 can get into a little bit more detail about kind of like what you're looking for and make sure it's a good fit for what you're looking to do. Zoo, thanks for coming in. But Shekhar says, okay, but these don't teach what these experts did today as how to find the long or short setup. I only want one stock setup, so I want to use MetaStock RT for intraday chart, which I should get free for IB. Maybe I should. Well, yes, Shekhar, that's kind of looks like a very involved question. Give us a chat at metastock.com/saleschat. And they can kind of help you do the best. I would say that the expert commentary does a really good job of kind of helping you understand what the experts are doing. I would also be the first to admit that it doesn't replace like a course. The course, or in the case of Price, even like his book will explain a lot of the methodologies. we do a really good job of actually, and I try and do a good job of it anyway, because I write a lot of these commentaries, but try and do a good job of concisely explaining what they're looking for and how you should implement it in your trading, but I don't think it would replace kind of their work and their books and that kind of stuff. You know, it's just designed to kind of give you a head start. Okay. All right, Andrew, enjoy your Trump rally in Pennsylvania. Thanks for coming in today. Mike, I understand. I'm kind of tired too. If you guys have any, just a few final notes, I'm going to leave you with a video, another video. But if you guys have any suggestions, please fill out the survey. I'm interested to see what you guys have to say. And we're going to change up the model a little bit next time. I think good changes. We're looking into some things that are kind of cool that I don't know that'll come to fruit. We were looking at maybe doing YouTube Live. We are looking to kind of up the production level a little bit, like with more things. And so there's a few ideas that I've got in terms of making the next one really cool. But I'd love to have any feedback or any ideas that you have. Like I said several times today, you're either getting better or you're getting worse. I want to get better. That's all I think these things could be even better than they are. So, in any case, guys, Douglas, DC stands for daily charts. So it means you can look at daily, weekly, monthly, but not real time, not like intraday. It does update hourly, though. You're welcome, Kevin. Thanks for coming. Go have something to eat, man. Thanks for coming. All right. And I'll see you at the next one.